Miles Mcbride is going to win Sixth Man of the Year. Sixth Man of the Year is one of those awards where sometimes it's just a player who comes out of nowhere, so to speak. Now, I think it's clear that Miles Mcbride is the sixth man for the New York Knicks at the moment. But for example, I'm saying I went to go back and look up what the odds were for Naz Reid to win Sixth Man of the Year last year. And while that's very hard to find because all the odds are for this year, I believe I found a couple of articles that said basically he wasn't even a candidate. Like, I didn't see him on the list at all that I looked at. He definitely wasn't top 5 before the season started. So this is an award where it's always really up for grabs. Unless your name is Lou Williams. If you know, you know how many times he's won. But obviously he's not in the NBA anymore. But besides him, like, anytime anybody can win this award. And so I think it's clear that Miles Mcbride is the sixth man for the Knicks. He's going to have a larger role, and here's why I think he's going to win the award. So here are some numbers that you're probably looking at, and you're like, what is this? Well, the 13, through the 22.6, those are the points per game averages for the most recent Sixth Man of the Years. And I cut it off with none other than Lou Williams. So as you could see, for the most part, the player who wins Sixth Man of the Year is hovering around the 18 to 20 point per game range. Naz Reid, as the most recent winner, averaged 13.5, which can be, I guess, technically called an anomaly from the recent history, but he was clearly the sixth man. Like, he earned it. His points per game didn't speak enough of his impact. And I love Naz Reid. I was saying they better give him that contract last offseason, and they did, and look what happened. Sixth Man of the Year. So with that being said, Miles Mcbride averaged 8.3 technically, points per game last season on 19.5 minutes per game on average. So with the trade of DiVincenzo, who was one of their really important players last year, and while he wasn't, taking the most shots on the team, he had a sizable role and he took, a good amount of shots. And he was responsible for a lot of the scoring, especially the three-point shooting. So because of the trade, Miles Mcbride is not only going to have a bigger role, but he's also going to be handling the ball more. And if you've been watching preseason, especially the game tonight rather, he was like being so aggressive, just like pushing the pace, like doing everything he possibly could. And I believe the other night, he ended up being like the leading scorer. So it is clear that not only are the Knicks hoping and, basically saying it's your time to shine, because they traded DiVincenzo, so they believe that Miles McBride will take another step forward. And obviously Miles McBride wants to show that he deserves to not only be the sixth man in the league, but a starter and, a very, very good player. So because of all those factors, I think, honestly, he might be the favorite to win the award. Because if you look at the odds for what they say for this year, obviously Naz Reid is on there again, and we know what Naz Reid does, right? But I personally don't think he's going to win it again. Like, I just personally don't think he's going to win it back-to-back. But Lou Williams has done that, so we can't say never. Right now, on the odds that I've looked at, Malik Monk is the odds-on favorite. And that's not a bad choice by any means. We know that Malik Monk goes crazy for the Kings. But I just don't see him winning Sixth Man of the Year either, although I wouldn't be surprised if he did. What's crazy to me is how low they have Miles McBride on the list. He was like plus 4,000. And not only was he plus 4,000, but there was like 15 people ahead of him. Isaiah Hartenstein, his ex-teammate, was literally above him in the odds as well. And Isaiah Hartenstein is a very, very good player. I think the Knicks, are going to miss him this season, but I would definitely put Miles McBride as the sixth man over Isaiah Hartenstein. No offense. Like, we know how important Hartenstein is, but I would give Miles a better chance to win the award. I think it's very possible that Miles McBride averages something close to 20, maybe like, 17, 18 a game, like some of those previous Sixth Man of the Award winners, and wins the award, because I do think he's also going to be efficient with it. And we know that Miles McBride is a very good defender. That was one of the things that got him on the court to begin with, because he was known for being a very good defender. And so what he would do is he would pick up full court and just like give his 100% effort, making sure that he was making defensive plays, and he would get steals and blocks. And obviously that earned him some minutes. I don't remember what he was averaging in the G League, but I do remember that before he became, consistently in the rotation for the Knicks, when he was playing for the G League, I remember they were talking about how, like, he must have been scoring like at least 22, 23 per game. And one of the most important things was that his three-point percentage, correct me if I'm wrong, was 40+% in the G League. I'll have to look that up to verify that. But that was one of the things, is like, everybody knew that Miles McBride was a good defender, but one of the things that people didn't necessarily see as much or know as much was his offensive game. And I don't know how much I've talked about it on this page, but anybody who knows me knows I've been saying for like 2 years, and obviously Miles McBride has only been in the league since 2021, so that's almost his whole career. But since at least 2022, I had been saying every time Miles McBride gets in the game, he makes good plays. Now, he didn't get a ton of minutes, he didn't get a ton of touches, and, he needed to go to the G League to develop. But it was clear every time he came in, he would make good defensive plays, he would make smart plays, and I was like, he could definitely be in the rotation. Like, I feel like he should play more. And so now he has a consistent role with the Knicks. Not only that, but again, I think he's going to win Sixth Man of the Year. And I think he's going to be one of the catalysts for the Knicks to be able to be a high-win team. And not only is Miles McBride going to have an increased role due to the trade for DiVincenzo, or trading away DiVincenzo, but also Julius Randle, who was their second leading scorer on the team, and he took a ton of shots. I didn't even mention him yet. So there are so many more shots to go around. And Mitchell Robinson, while he doesn't take a ton of shots, he obviously is a key part of their defense and rotation. And so that just means more minutes for Miles, because Mitchell Robinson will be out until like January. And Cat, while they're going to figure it out eventually, incorporating someone, who has been an all-star like Cat is going to take a little bit of time. And so I think Miles McBride is going to be one of the catalysts for the bench unit, for offense, off the bench especially, and kind of carrying the team in a way at times. Basically having that Malik Monk role, that Jordan Clarkson role. Now again, Miles McBride is a very, very good defender and a better defender than those two players I just mentioned. But I'm saying in terms of, I see it like being very plausible that he averages 20 off the bench and in a way basically wins some games for them when the starters may not have it going. And if he's going to average close to 20, and I think he'll be efficient with it, because I think he takes good shots for the most part. Of course, there are times like every other player where they take a shot that they probably shouldn't, but that's a learning experience. But his offense, that obviously has, developed over the past few years, combined with his really good defense, I feel like potentially, there might not be a better two-way Sixth Man of the Year candidate this year. So I'm not saying he's the best offensive six-man candidate, but he may be the best combined offense and defensive player as a candidate. You could throw in Naz Reid. Naz Reid's a good defender too, and we already know he won last year. And Naz Reid can light it up from three, by the way. Like, when he starts hitting those threes, he could end up with like 25. But I'm just saying, watch out for Miles McBride, because I really do think he's going to win that Sixth Man of the Year award for the New York Knicks, and for himself, of course.